Liquid bones. A powerful experience. It's a powerful experience. Welcome to Lobido Channel, a place of sight and sound, experimental art videos. Here's a mini story. This episode is a mini story inspired by a plate of seashells on a large wooden box next to Lobido's futon, which were given to him. The box and the shells were given to him by a woman who died, and he had a strange dream about her and turned it into a story in which the main character is Leo Comet, a middle-aged man whose contract with the Department of Regulation had been terminated, and he was wandering across the plains of radiation. One day he went into a roadside diner and ordered a hot turkey sandwich with peas and French fries under a layer of gravy and a cup of coffee. Liquid bones. A powerful experience. It's a powerful experience. Liquid bones. Leo Comet was sitting on a bar stool at the far end of the counter in a roadside diner. He had some shells in his hands, small shells, and began rubbing them together. Leo suddenly realized these were the shells the woman in the silk brocade gown had put into the blender to create the alabaster beverage, which she drank and then vomited into a sink. He realized they were actually bones that she ground up, bones, and after drinking the bone beverage, it mixed with her stomach acid. The milky white substance that she vomited into the sink was the perfect beverage. A man in a bistro pulled out a little book and read his personal, private prayer. Then he got up and read it really loud, addressing everyone in the cafe. They had to call security, and the security guard came in with a trumpet and began playing the trumpet. Leo Comet was sitting on a bar stool at the far end of the counter in a roadside diner. A black-haired woman appeared in a luminous crimson and gold silk brocade gown. She took the stones and shells and put them in a blender and created an alabaster beverage. She took him by the hand and led him into a large bathroom. They stood in front of the wall of mirrors above the row of sinks along the wall. They gazed into the mirror and into each other's eyes. She bent forward and vomited the alabaster beverage into one of the sinks. The beverage that flowed from her stomach and out her mouth into the sink and down the drain would never be consumed by anyone. And yet Leo Comet felt, by the very act of witnessing this event, he had consumed the alabaster bone beverage through his eyes, through the little holes, the pupils. He had consumed it through vision, and it bathed his brain. Leo realized this visionary experience was a reaction from contamination, from exposure to radioactive dust. This was after Leo Comet had a job sweeping toxic dust from a clandestine lab 3 stories underground, entrance via a parking garage. Leo Comet's job was to sweep up the toxic dust. He inhaled a certain amount, which created, later in the night, chest pain and visionary experiences. The only jobs Leo Comet could get were the jobs that nobody else wanted, because he had a bad reputation from refusal to follow orders, insubordination, and run-ins with authority. At the end of his shift one night, Leo heard 2 executives in an office room, in a small room, talking about their plans, the development of small radioactive weapons. They were producing small portable weapons for assassins. Leo Comet didn't want to know about it. He was just there and happened to overhear what they were saying, but he didn't want to know about it. He wanted no knowledge of what they were producing. He was just there to sweep up toxic dust from the floor, to collect his pay, and then go home. The development of weapons in a top-secret lab as part of a never-ending war generated by psychotic leaders with an insatiable appetite for power and self-gratification. Leo heard a pounding sound. At first he thought it was renovation, but then he began to tune into the rhythmic aspect of the sound and realized it was part of some sort of ritual, a conga sound, ritual drumming. The Perfect Beverage, created by a shiny, black-haired, mystical woman. Leo Comet figured she appeared as a result of brain damage from exposure to radioactive dust when he was sweeping the floor of the clandestine lab where portable radioactive weapons were being developed for assassins. Sitting down and standing up. 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 Fee, fi, fo, fum. I'll grind your bones to make my bread. In this case, beverage. The mystical woman ground seashells in a blender, then drank the alabaster beverage. It mixed with stomach acid, which she then vomited into a sink in a mosaic tile bathroom. Leo Comet watched as the perfect beverage flowed down the drain before he could drink it. But he did drink it. He drank it through his pupils, through his eyes. Leo Comet drank the perfect beverage, which bathed his brain with happy chemicals, which made it easier for him to cope with the trauma of existence. Beautiful evening, sun. Don't be afraid to play. Play while alive. Corpses rot. Bodies dance and sing. Don't be shy. Beware of greasy doorknob or slimy light switch. Sweep the floor once in a while. Wash your hands. Don't pick your nose. During an interrupted phone call, Danny DeCroche and Dora Dingeling, a broken connection. Hold the line and be mine. Danny said he was tired of Dora not allowing him to relax. She was always wanting him to do things right away when they could easily be put off until tomorrow. Why did Dora Dingaling phone Danny DeCroche? Lobodo saw them later in the lounge on the main floor of the Bleak Hotel. Dora looked miffed. Danny appeared tired. Tired Danny miffed Dora. Lobodo was about to turn around and escape out the back entrance. Too late, they saw him. The eyes of Danny gazed into his eyes as they tried to hook him into their dilemma. Dora accused Danny of wanting to rain on her party. And when Leo Comet sat down and leaned over the plate, he picked up his knife and fork to eat his hot turkey sandwich. Suddenly it rippled before his eyes, and instead of a sandwich, there was a plate full of seashells with a few potatoes underneath. Shells, seashells. And he was about to burst out laughing, and he looked up, and the waitress had turned into a mystical woman in a crimson and gold silk brocade gown. And she took his plate and put the shells into a blender and created an alabaster beverage, which she poured into a glass and drank, all the while gazing into Leo's eyes. Then she took him by the hand and led him to the bathroom. And they stood in front of a long row of mirrors above a long row of sinks and mosaic tile walls. They gazed into the mirror, at their reflections, and into each other's eyes. She leaned forward, and the alabaster liquid poured from her stomach and out her mouth and into the sink. And as it was pouring out of her mouth, Leo Comet thought that this was the perfect beverage. The perfect beverage. A mix of alabaster, seashells, with her saliva and stomach acids. And before he could drink it, it was all gone down the drain. But he did not despair, because through his eyes he had consumed the liquid, and it bathed his brain in delightful sensations.